All right. Hello. Welcome, everyone. This is the keyword research training. It's free. And I bet there's a lot of people in here. We have Bry on. Please let me know if you can hear me. I always like to check that at the beginning. Funny story. One time I was holding a session just like this, and I talked for like 30 or 40 minutes, and it turned out no one could hear me, and there were some technical issues. So always check that. You always check that. We have Raul on. Andy, what's going on? Let me know where you're from. We're going to get started pretty quick here, but I'll burn a little time just to give people a few minutes. So it looks like we have like 25-ish people. So everyone, please say hello. Andy from the UK. Here in Bozeman, Montana, that's where I live. It's getting a little sunny. It is smoky out here in the Rocky Mountain region and in the west. So I don't think there's any fires like super close by, but it's quite hazy. They tell me the air quality is low and we can't see the mountains very well. So not the best situation. However, fortunately for us, there's no fires like really close by. All right, cool. We have Chris in Vancouver. It's smoky up there in Vancouver also, right? We have Mark from the UK. We have Naim. I'm doing well today. Bob in Minneapolis. And Raul's from New Delhi. All right, cool. So I think it looks like we got a handful of folks. I'm just going to get started. All right, so I'll mention a few things along the way. Quick note. If there are any, for the live viewers, right? If there are any issues, like if the audio goes out, if the video freezes, let us know in the chat, meaning me and everybody else in the chat. Sometimes it's on your own like network or your computer and you could refresh it, but let us know in the chat and then we'll try and figure it out. Sometimes, maybe like 25% of the time, the issue's on my end or the server with Webinar Jam or something. So if you have an issue, refresh. Sometimes that takes care of the problem. And I'm Doug Cunnington, by the way. I can't remember if I mentioned that, founder of Niche Site Project. And I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. I'm assuming, yeah, everyone can hear me. So keyword research, I say for niche sites here, but it really applies for like any kind of keyword research, affiliate sites especially. You can translate the ideas to other types of websites. Let's say you're a painter and you have a local business website. You can take ideas from this as well. You may have to customize it. Or let's say you're a project manager and you want to have a project management website where people can hire you as a freelancer. So you could use these ideas all over the place. However, you may have to take the pieces that apply to you. Simon's on as well. Welcome. Okay, so I've checked a couple times. People can't hear me. That's always a good thing. I'm Doug Cunnington, founder of Niche Site Project, and that's mainly a blog, but I've been doing a lot on YouTube, and I think probably a lot of people here on right now know me from YouTube. So actually, let me know if you know me from the YouTube, or from the blog. Just curious. And that's a picture of our dog and myself, Georgie, at Newport, Oregon, and she's really good at catching the Frisbee. So we were throwing some Frisbee out there, and my wife took a picture of that while we were out on the beach. Okay, I've been featured and mentioned on a lot of different podcasts or blogs, sometimes other YouTube channels, but I've made the rounds, and hopefully that's a little credibility. It's really the why should you listen to me section. So I was also featured on Social Triggers by Derek Halpern, I think like in the last year, and it was actually about a course that I have, 5-figure niche site. Steve's on. Thomas said, okay, a few people, YouTube, and then blog. So I think a lot of times there's some cross-pollination, which is good. But some people, maybe they don't watch YouTube, or some people, they don't like to read. They'd rather watch YouTube. So, okay. I always put this slide in here to make sure that I tell the whole story. It's a good reminder for me and for others too. So quick note, you probably follow other marketers. You probably follow just other people in general, or maybe you listen to podcasts or watch YouTube videos. You will see success stories. Oftentimes, they will make you feel terrible, like you're behind and you're a loser and you're not doing well. At least that's how I feel. The reason why is because you're just seeing the highlight reel most of the time. They will occasionally, some people will occasionally mention, how hard it was to achieve whatever they were working on. However, most of the time, you simply just get the crazy highlight reel where it looks like it was an overnight success, but they don't mention the, 4 years of struggle and all the failure points along the way. I will tell you those. Now, I'm not going to go into huge detail, but hopefully people can sort of read a little bit here as they go. So I started internet marketing in 2013. In April 2013, I found the Smart Passive Income podcast and got obsessed. I dive in to whatever topic I'm interested in and really go deep. And then sometimes I'll pull back completely, but internet marketing, I was super interested in. And by the end of the year, December of 2013, I had an Amazon affiliate site that made like $6,000. Now, I'm created a few other sites along the way in the beginning that were total flops. They didn't work out at all. Let me mute here. And the thing is, I had several failure points, and you can see this is a roller coaster ride. And basically, any low point that you see was due to an algorithm penalty from Google or some manual penalty from Google. So at some point, I decided, well, I'm going to stay on the up and up, and I'm going to do my best to follow the rules that Google lays out if Google is the main source of my traffic, which it is. All right. So those were hard lessons to learn. And I mean, I'm in good company because there's a lot of other marketers that you have probably heard of that they use private blog networks. They use Web 2.0 links. They went to Fiverr and bought link pyramids or link wheels. In fact, when I learned about all this stuff, it was common practice. And in fact, I learned it from Pat Flynn of Smart Passive Income. And it was the practice at the time. Further, I followed Spencer Hawes at Niche Pursuits, and I was featured there a couple times on his blog and once on the podcast. And back in those days, we all used private blog networks. It was kind of the common practice, and that's what our mentors from afar were doing. So that's what I did. Eventually, it caught up with me and others. And a lot of people don't use PBNs anymore. Now, it's another story for another day. However, at the end of the timeline here, you see I sold a site about a year ago for $235,000. And it was just a simple Amazon affiliate niche site. I had about 125 posts, and I've talked about it a few places. But if you're interested, I can definitely dig up a link for you and make sure you can find it. Okay. So that's enough about the timeline. Again, emphasizing the low points and the fact that I learned from my mistakes. And I think that's a key thing for success. Like, learn from your mistakes, try not to make them again, and be flexible, adapt, learn more, that sort of thing. Simon mentions that you saw me on a stream with Alex from WP Eagle over on YouTube, and now you subscribe to my channel. So thanks. Quick question, and I'll pepper some questions throughout this presentation. So when did you first hear about niche sites or internet marketing? And you could even mention the source if you want in the chat. As we go on, you can ask questions throughout. Please mark them as a question if you have the ability to. I'll probably save the questions until the end since we have 30 plus people on. So I'll save the questions till the end, and we'll go through the content. We'll actually get started right now with keyword research. As I mentioned, the concepts will apply to basically any keyword research that you need to do. However, we will focus on niche sites and or affiliate marketing today, and that'll be sort of the focus. So this is an Emerson quote. However, I'm told this is a different Emerson, not the Ralph Waldo one, but I'll read it out. As to methods, there may be a million and then some, but principles are few. The man who grasps principles can successfully select his own or her own methods. The man who tries methods ignoring the principles is sure to have trouble. Emerson, again, probably not this one. It's a different person, a different Emerson. But the point here is, if you could understand like the how, like the whys and like the principles behind everything, if you understand the concepts, then you'll be able to apply this to other areas. You'll be able to come up with your own methods, with your own like personal skills that you have that no one else has. So you can stack these skills on top of each other. I often get questions. I know a lot of people do know me from YouTube. I get questions on YouTube a lot of times where someone wants the step-by-step to do X. Now, while that can be really helpful, and in fact, I probably used guides like that when I first got started, if you're just like concerned with the step-by-step, sure, you could copy it, but if anything is different, if there's any unexpected events that happen, you are stuck. You can't do anything. You can't troubleshoot well if you are only just copying someone else's methods. But if you understand the whys and how and the deeper concepts, then you'll be fine. Okay, so I made the point there. We're going to go over 4 main things today: the types of keywords that are out there, keyword volumes in different ranges, and those are my own personal opinion, and then the target volumes that I recommend targeting. Now, my own personal opinion, other people will totally disagree, and that's fine. There's different methods, and you have to understand, you're going to apply these ideas, you probably should be pretty close to my method, or it's going to be a little bit off. And last, we'll talk about the keyword golden ratio. I think a couple people mentioned it already. I don't think we'll have time to do like a full demo, but I do have a couple guides to just show you and get you started. Additionally, there's a full masterclass on YouTube for free about the keyword golden ratio. It's about an hour and a half or 2 of content, and it is indeed a masterclass. 4 types of keywords. So we have the buy now type of keyword, and that's like pre-purchase. Like, I'm going to purchase something like in a few minutes. Like if I'm looking for a book, I may search for, I wouldn't do this because I kind of know how the search works, but I may type in 4-hour work week, for sale, or for sale, buy now, something like that. And I'll probably end up with a bunch of places, a bunch of results where I can immediately buy the 4-hour work week. Next is the product type, and you can see it's a little bold, it's a little bit darker. These are pre-purchase keywords. However, it's a little bit further in the buying cycle, further out, meaning someone's going to buy something, but maybe it's a few days or maybe even a couple weeks, and they're researching the topic, maybe specific products, and these are the ones we want to go after. Someone is probably going to buy something soon. And one of the reasons we're targeting these is if someone's searching for example, we'll get into some of the specific, how these keywords look and the phrasing and that sort of thing. But if someone's searching for a product type keyword, they want a blog or something with content. They don't want like an Amazon result. They want to see information so that they can do research. That's their searching intent. And that's why it works. Now, informational, these are pretty good too. They are a little bit like either further like upstream from the product keywords. These are going to start with how to do X, for example, and most of the keywords online are associated with an informational kind of keyword. These are pretty good because if you know what someone's trying to do, there's often a product or set of products that can make it cheaper, easier, faster for them to accomplish and solve their goal, right? So they have some thing they're trying to figure out, and you can recommend something to make it easier. So these are pretty good too, and a well-rounded affiliate site will have both types of content, and I personally recommend about 50% of each. If you wanted to have more informational content, that would be just fine. In fact, if you wanted to, you could have a site with purely informational content, and that would be fine. The last kind of keyword, at least for my classifications here, general information. And these are, quote, tire kickers, and the person's just learning about the topic. This would be a keyword like a smartphone. And then maybe you would see a Wikipedia entry, some other encyclopedia type entries. And the idea with the general information is someone is like really, really far up in the learning cycle. They're not even thinking about purchasing anything. They're just trying to figure out, what is a smartphone? What can you do with a smartphone? And that sort of thing. Now, you could imagine that once you get the definition for what a smartphone is, maybe you do ask, how do I choose a smartphone? And that gets into the informational kind of keywords. And you could see, right, in this example, how do I choose a smartphone? You could obviously guide someone to choose a smartphone and the things they would need to think about. You can also make a product recommendation in there too. Okay, so those are the 4 types: buy now, product, informational, and general information. You're generally targeting the product and informational type keywords, though general information could be a relevant piece of content to have on an affiliate site if it can be helpful for the type of visitor that would be visiting your site. Next, we'll look at keyword volumes. In generally, you're looking at the local monthly searches, where the locality is a geography, right? So it's like based on Google's like geographic databases. I think that's the right phrasing I want to use. So it could be the Italian version of Google. So you would want to look for Italian search volumes, and you would want to look for, Australian, UK, whatever's relevant most of the time. And I would highly recommend people should look at the US. There's more search volume. People buy more on Amazon. Again, my focus is pretty much Amazon affiliate marketing. So highly recommend that the locality that you're targeting is the US, and you could use the local monthly searches, and that's where these volumes apply. So very high, 9,000 and above. So these are going to be, generally more competitive. You have the high level, which is a big range here, but it's 2,500 to 9,000. The medium range I call 720 to 2,500. And then you have the low search volumes, that is 250 to 720. And of course, ultra low and long tails, less than 250 searches per month. And my fancy animation and graphics here, the higher search volumes take longer to rank, often have more or need more links to rank well, like on the first page of Google. And in general, it's more competitive, like you would imagine, because if there is a higher search volume, it's a more profitable keyword, and thus there will be more competition. The competitors that are already in the niche, that are already out there, they're going to be reinvesting, making it even more competitive. Lower search volumes seem to be faster to rank. They require fewer links. There's less competition, and there's actually more of those. So has anyone read the book Longtail by Chris Anderson? If not, it's very good. But the general idea is when companies like Amazon came out, they allowed the long tail to grow. So imagine a bookstore, for example, and there's limited shelf space. There's only so many books that they can have in their store. And Steve has read this book, and it's it's a full book explaining what I'm going to try and do in like 3 sentences. So check out the book. The point is, when your shelf space is essentially unlimited, you can sell like almost all the books that you can get a hold of. In fact, now you and I, everyone on this call, can self-publish a book and get it out on Amazon in just probably a couple of days, right? I mean, you can publish a book yourself. So essentially that long tail is unlimited. And when you look at the data, I'm generalizing a lot, it's something like half of these sales on Amazon are for, we'll talk about books here just to keep the example simple. Half of the books sold are like the short tail. These are, the New York Times bestsellers. These are books that are huge and they sell tons of copies. And then the rest are all the other books. And there are a lot of books that maybe only sell one copy per week. But there are so many of them that it's actually very worthwhile to go after that long tail. And we see it because of the internet and, again, unlimited shelf space because of the supply chain of Amazon and other companies. The long tail is awesome, right? So we're aiming for the long tail because it's faster to rank, takes fewer links, and there's less competition, and there's a lot of those keywords. Target volumes. Okay, and I see the question, and I'll definitely come to it towards the end. Thanks, Mads. So the target volumes that I'm looking for are in the generally, let's see, I think this is an animation area. So when you're just starting, you want to target the very low volume keywords because of all the reasons I just mentioned. You'll also have a look at, potentially some of the low and medium volume keywords too. And I recommend that you do target those over time. But if you're just starting your site, you want to focus on the ultra long tails and the long tails in general, and then have longer term goals for low and medium keywords. And I think there may be, I don't talk about it too much because most people are starting, most of the people that watch on YouTube, for example, they're just starting their site. They're most interested in the keyword golden ratio, which of course, by definition, falls in the under 250. And I'll go deep into the KGR in a few minutes here. The point is I target keywords in the low, medium, and high ranges. I target all the keywords, but if you're just starting your site, you should definitely focus on the lower volumes. And then over time, you'll be able to rank for higher volume keywords. You'll be able to reinvest. Your content will get better. You'll get better at every step along the way. But if you try to go for a high volume keyword, then you're probably going to have a hard time. And there's so many variables, there's so many areas where you can make a mistake. It'll be very hard for you to figure out what the issue is. Do you need more links? Is your content quality not high enough? Is there some other factor? Is it just way too competitive? And the list goes on. So it's really hard to tell if you're going after super high keyword volumes. So the other part, in fact, I just got an email in the last couple of days where someone said, hey, I've never made any money online. I want to hire you for coaching. And I want to target this search term that gets 90,000 searches per month. And I need help to figure out how to monetize it. I need help figuring out what to do next. And I don't want to, waste too much time. The problem, and they already had a website launched, by the way. So there were two big mistakes. This is a complete tangent here, but there were two big mistakes that this person made. One, they were going after a keyword that is probably one of the most competitive in that whole niche, right? So very difficult keyword. Even if they ranked for it, second issue was this person didn't know how to monetize it. So there's a lot of ways to monetize the site. You could sell products. Unfortunately, their keyword didn't have any actual products specifically, and they weren't very high cost either. You could do ads, right? They could put ads all over their site, or maybe they could be a lead generation type site and refer the visitors to some other company that could actually make money. This person needs to go back to the drawing board. And the issue started with picking a keyword volume that was way too competitive. Okay, quick water break. All right. Next, we'll talk about the keyword golden ratio. I think a lot of people are familiar with the keyword golden ratio, or KGR, as it's often abbreviated. Just let me know in the chat if you have seen the KGR in action. Have you used it before? Is this a brand new concept? I'm just curious. Okay. So the keyword golden ratio is a concept and formula that I developed about 2+ years ago. And the formula is this. So the all-in title divided by the local monthly search volume, where the local monthly search volume is under 250. Again, generally this is going to be in the US, but you may be able to adjust it for other keyword volumes in other countries if you want. You want to have the ratio as under 0.25. It needs to be under 0.25 for it to be KGR compliant. And if you're unfamiliar with the all-in title query, I'll show you in a second how to do it. You will need to get the keyword volumes from a tool. Here I reference Keyword Keg, which is a paid tool, but you could use tools like Ubersuggest, right? So that gives you keyword volumes. You could use Keywords Everywhere, which is a related plugin to the Keyword Keg tool. And generally, you're able to just, get whatever keyword volumes you want. We'll be utilizing Keywords Everywhere, a free plugin for Chrome in this example as well. Chris is familiar, I guess, with the KGR, but has not applied it yet. Andy has 5 articles with the KGR on page 3 with all 5. Cool. Good to know. Awesome. And the cool part with the keyword golden ratio is it's like a data-driven way to figure out keywords that are underserved on the internet. So I'll show you the specific examples in a moment, but that's the idea. You're finding keywords that people are searching for, but there's not much content online. So the idea is if you intentionally write content to help that searcher and intentionally target that search phrase, then you should be able to rank usually like in the top 30 within like a few hours. Now, there are other tweaks you have to make. There's a couple other things that you may have to adjust, but generally over time, you'll move up if you indeed are publishing good quality articles that are helping the visitor and it's not filled with like grammar mistakes and misspelled words and keyword stuffing and that sort of thing. If it's a well-written article, you should be able to rank quickly and you should be able to move up over time, say within a few months, which is, it may sound like a long time, but I have a lot of, I've heard from a lot of people that will publish something and it will never rank anywhere. And they've maybe been working on it for a year or 18 months and they literally have no keywords ranking in the top 100 at all and they get 0 traffic. So let's get to the example, but that's the idea behind the keyword golden ratio. You could publish something that's underserved online, supply and demand, and then you'll be able to rank faster. So here's example 1. So we're looking at the all-in title, and here's how you search for it. So it's all one word, all-in title, : and then you type in whatever you're searching for. And it should probably be like a longer phrase, and you don't put quotations around it. All right, so you can see how I've typed it in here. And what we see, sorry if it's small, so I'll read it out here. So it's all in title, which electric shaver is best for sensitive skin? And we see that there are 4 results, at least at the time that I pulled this screenshot. So there are 4 results. And so that's 4 results for the all in title, and you divide it by 10 searches per month. This 10 searches per month is the keyword search volume, the LMS that we picked up from our keyword research tool. The tool doesn't matter. Just pick any tool, use it. It could be free, it could be paid. Yes, the different keyword search tools use different algorithms and they all work a little bit differently. So you may get different search volumes. The point is you just need to pick a tool and stick with it. It doesn't matter that it's different. The reason why it doesn't matter is the KGR is an aggressive formula, so it takes into account using different tools, different algorithms, and changes that may happen with search volume averages over time. So in this case, 4 divided by 10 is 0.4, which of course is higher than 0.25. So this doesn't fit the criteria. Now, would I go for this one? Well, it depends. If my site for example, is say a year old and I'm ranking for a few things, I would probably go for it, even though it doesn't exactly fit the criteria. If it's a brand new site, I would probably skip this one for now and then I'd come back to it later. It's a decent keyword. I mean, there's only 4 results here, and there's only 10 searches per month. So, after I publish my first 10 articles, maybe I come back and I would publish this one. But in this case, it doesn't, for our example, it doesn't meet the criteria. Example 2 is best electric shaver for bald head. Again, you search for it with all in title, no quotes, don't use quotes. It gives you, fewer results, which are less accurate for what we're looking for. And in this case, there are 26 results. But the good part is there's 210 searches. So 26 divided by 210 is 0.12. That is less than 0.25. So we would go for it. So this is how you find the keyword golden ratio for a given term. You need to know the local monthly searches, and then you need to know the all in title results. And what you're able to, it takes some time. So I'll go ahead and tell you that. It takes some time to find these. And once you find one, you'll often find like a pocket of keywords. So if you start looking for like best electric shaver for a specific thing, then you'll start finding other queries that are related to best electric shaver for a specific task. That's a great way to find them. So highly recommend, just setting aside some time. Be patient. It will take you a while at first. And every now and then I'll get an email from someone who they say, I just can't find KGR terms. It's too hard. It takes too long. And I don't understand, right? They don't understand how other people are able to find these terms. They're out there. So usually, it's a skill. So you need to go and figure out, how to work through the issue. It's a little hard at first, but you'll get better at it. It's manual also. A lot of times there's a question for, there's a question about like automation and is there a tool that does this? And the answer is no. There used to be some tools that would do it, but Google throttles this search because it's an advanced search and they know that SEO types like us are potentially trying to automate it. So they slow it down. And in fact, if you do a few of these searches in a row, you'll often get hit with a CAPTCHA where you have to type in the squiggly lines and then prove you're a human. So it's very difficult to automate this. And that is part of the reason why it works. Again, it's supply and demand. You layer that on with a manual process, and you can pretty easily see that if you put in the time, you're probably going to be able to find keywords that other people are not going after because it's harder to find them. So it's all about hard work. I know since a lot of people did come from the YouTube world, you probably see some folks that are saying, this is easy. Here's how to do this fast. And I would be suspect if someone's telling you this is easy, this is fast, you can make quick money. It's not easy. It's not fast. I can refer back to my timeline where I had all sorts of issues. There's some exciting stuff you can do faster than you could like start a brick and mortar business, but this is by no means a piece of cake, right? So this is work like anything else. If this is the right kind of work for you, it'll be kind of fun. And in fact, it is pretty fun to find some keywords like this. So, okay, moving on. Listen to Google. So this is my little pro tip here. So when you search for something, you'll have a couple areas that you'll get some great information. One is related searches. So you'll search for your query, you'll see your results and all that, but scroll all the way to the very bottom and you'll see the related searches just like it's mentioned here. So you'll have related searches. And then if you use keywords everywhere, you'll have the search volumes right here as well, which is cool. But these are obviously related searches where Google knows that someone who searched for the term that you just searched for, sometimes they search for these other terms that are very related. So that's a great place to look. Additionally, if you type in like best electric shaver 4 and then hit the space bar, like in the search field, you'll get the auto suggest for a lot of other terms. So those are great places to look because Google's literally telling you these are closely related. That is also why you often find, like, if you find one KGR term, you'll find like a pocket of 3 or 4 more. So in general, and I know it sounds like it could take a while, but I have a couple sites where I've published several hundred articles that are KGR compliant, and this definitely works. So it takes time, but you can find these. You don't have to find all your keywords in one day. If you could find 3 or 4 per day, that adds up really fast. All right, it adds up really fast. Okay. So, and I'll quickly mention, because people do ask, I have a course. It's called 5-Figure Niche Site. I'm not actively pushing it right now or anything like that, but if you are interested, let me know and I can help you get enrolled if you want to. It's been created, or it was created. The whole course was created with proven principles and techniques and strategies that work. And it's not just me that has implemented it, right? Many students have been successful. And if you're familiar with the YouTube channel, you've probably seen several success stories out there. So now it's time for the Q&A. And I think I'll stop sharing. All right. Okay, Matt, feel free to ask more questions now, and then I will check out Matt's first question. All right. Hi, Doug. Are there any benefits in limiting myself to the US when searching for keywords, in contrary to just searching for the entire world? I mean, if my site is in English, wouldn't I want to target all English-speaking countries? So, is there any benefit limiting yourself to the US? Okay. So, if it's you should search for, the thing is, you have to pick, right? You have to pick, you're either using like the US search volumes or something else. And if you could assume that other people are searching in the same proportions in other countries. So UK, Australia, Canada, other English speaking countries, you could assume that it'll be roughly the same proportion. But the thing is, you can't search for all English speaking countries in an effective way. So I would just say, don't worry about it, and then do what I said and target the US. And then there are other affiliate programs in other countries. So you could target the UK, Canada, and other countries as well. So sure, you can target those if you want to, but I would recommend don't even worry about it until you've launched your site and you get traffic and it's worthwhile. Why, you ask, right? You're like, well, if I could just apply to Canada and the UK, well, that's easy, right? It's a no-brainer. Where are you located, by the way? Are you in the US or are you in another country, Mads? So for me personally, it's hard to cash a check from Canada or the UK. I kind of have to go through I got to jump through some hoops, basically. So I didn't worry about this for a long time. One of the main reasons why is, if you're only getting, let me give you an example. Let's say you're getting 1,000 visitors per day to your site, and 98% of those visitors are from the US, and then the rest are spread out across the world. That means most likely you're probably only getting like a tiny percentage of visitors from, say, the UK or Canada. And if you went through the trouble to set up your accounts with the associate programs in the respective countries and then set up all the other stuff, you're probably only going to be making like pennies a day. It's not even worth it. So don't even worry about it until you're getting about 100 visitors per day from one of those other countries that applies, right? So keep that in mind, and don't put the cart before the horse. Like, don't try and optimize for all that stuff if you don't need to yet. Does that make sense? All right. And Mads also asks, about 4 months ago, you made some research for your site. You were able to find 25 KGR keywords, but didn't have time to write them. How did you not have time to write them? Okay. However, the KGR does not apply to most of the keywords anymore because all in title values have doubled or even more. Does this mean there's too much competition in the niche and that you should find another? You know for a fact that it is a popular niche. Okay. The answer is I don't know. So it means you probably need to do more keyword research and you need to analyze the competition. Just because there's more competition now doesn't mean that you shouldn't go for it. If you think it's too hard for you, then probably not, right? You should, if you think it's too hard, then it probably is too hard. All right, Rupesh says, your site's ranking for some keywords. Can you go for a high search volume? Sure, you can go for a high search volume. It will probably take a little while to rank. So here are the three main factors. So it will take some time for it to rank. You will also need more backlinks than a lower search volume term, most likely. And it will probably need to be high quality and a decent length. So how do you figure out either one of those things? So Rupesh, here's what you do. You research your competition for off-page factors. So take a look at how many backlinks they have and sort of the quality and authority of those backlinks. And that'll give you a good idea of what you would need to meet at a minimum. So you could average that together and then you'll have a good target to aim for. You'll need to do more than what they've done to displace them. For the length of the content, you should go find the average length and probably keyword density for your competitors. And then in the same kind of spirit, you should exceed the length and quality of your competitors, and that'll put you in a good spot. And then it'll also take time. Raul says, you found a keyword blue shaver for bald head, and the article you write has the title as the best blue shaver 2018 or best blue shaver for bald head for beginners. Will these modifications help or hurt? You get many such keywords on Ahrefs, and without these modifications, they don't make sense. So it depends for everything. So I can't really answer that accurately. It may help for certain searches and it may hurt other searches. So I would look at, again, the competitors to get an idea on what matters. But the thing is, if you target really specifically, then it won't apply for as many people. So if you start trying to outsmart the searcher, then it may work against you. But like I said, it depends on a lot of factors. So I don't know how to answer that question. You have to look at each one individually, basically. I mean, if I have a site, right, and I'm looking at what I want to make the title, then I have to analyze each one of those posts individually. You can't make a blanket statement. Any other questions out there? All right. Good questions, deep questions today. And David says, you're in a niche where there's a lot of competition, but using pictures and videos. Do you think writing articles on the same titles is useful, and would it help me rank? Mostly the search shows Pinterest pictures. Okay, so thanks for mentioning this, David. Writing articles on those will be useful. Maybe. Here's the thing. If you find a KGR term, and you didn't mention this was KGR at all, then I'll describe this for everyone. If you find a KGR term, you should search for it and then see what comes up. So if you see mostly videos and you're planning on writing an article, chances are you're not going to be able to rank because Google in the searcher wants to see videos. It's common for like how-tos a lot of times. Another one could be like if you see a bunch of results that are all like super authoritative, like New York Times, CNN, like WebMD, Wikipedia, and there's not any affiliate sites, then it's probably a sign that people want to see these authoritative sites. They don't want to see someone's smaller affiliate site. So to answer your question, David, I would maybe test it. So you're saying there are results where pictures and videos are most common, and basically you should test it with one or two and see what happens. But I would suggest that it wouldn't work. All right. Steve says, how many backlinks would you recommend to start with for articles that fit the KGR? I would start with no links. So that by default, that's where it starts. Generally, you're not going to need very many links for a KGR term. And if you've published it and you want to build links to a KGR post, then I would start with maybe 5 or 10. There's no, again, this kind of goes back to the question, like, what should you use for a title? It depends on a number of factors. So if I just say 5 or 10, that could be way off. So you really should look at the competition, Steve. You should see how many backlinks your competitors have, and then you'll probably have to at least meet the criteria there. All right. Rupesh is asking about how to use images. So I'm going to look up I'm going to point you to my website where there's a lot of Q&A, frequently asked questions, where I answer that one. So if people, and I've answered that one so many times, so I'm just going to put that in there. Basically, if you use the site stripe from Amazon, then you'll be fine and you won't violate anything. That's what I do. That's what I recommend. And the next, I can actually put the link directly to that question in here as well. So recommend you take a look at that. So how to use Amazon product images. All right. Any other questions before we finish up for today? And remember, I do Q&As usually on Friday. So I think I'm going to do it tomorrow, which is Friday, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I will probably be adjusting my schedule in the future to potentially do them on Thursday so that I can have my Friday mornings free. So, but tomorrow I think I am going to do that at 10 a.m. All right. Any other questions before we finish up? I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll hang on. All right. Thanks, Rupesh. Andy, appreciate it. Thanks everyone for hopping on today, and we'll catch you on YouTube and the blog. So see you later. Take it easy.